Hi guys, it's Ange from Every Dime Counts. If you've been following along in the Learn With Me series, welcome back to part 4, learning how to use a soap calculator. And if you're new and this is the first video that you've landed on, don't worry, I'll link the other 3 videos in the description box below. I just wanted to sit down with you for a little bit before we get into the soap calculator part and just explain to you why I've chosen to make these Learn With Me videos. Now, in the beginning, luckily I was determined that I was going to make my first batch of homemade soap. And I watched tutorial after tutorial, and I did research, and I checked like 17 websites, and I thought I was ready to go. Turns out, I wasn't. I didn't know even some of the terms that I was supposed to look up in order to get in between those steps that I didn't know. And so, the first couple of times, I failed at making soap. But I learned from my mistakes, and I don't want you to make the same. So I want this to be a successful journey for you, with all the trial and error taken out of it by me making those mistakes for you. So I hope that even though these videos are long and packed full of information, that there's no gaps and you get caught up wondering what is next, or I wish I knew that from the very beginning. So with all that said, let's get into making a soap recipe on the soap calculator. So come with me to the computer. Soapcalc.com or soapcalc.net. It will take you to the same place. So what you'll see here is the front screen, their homepage. We're going to go to Recipe Calculator. Most of it's already filled in for us. As you can see right here, we have number 1 already set to NaOH, which is sodium hydroxide, and that's what we're using in cold process soap to get a bar of soap. The KOH is for potassium hydroxide, and that's for like laundry detergents or liquid soap. So we're going to keep number 1 the way it is. Number 2 is a weight of our oils, and we're going to be working in ounces. And we want to make a 1 pound batch, so it comes up 16 ounces is 1 pound, so that's good. Has a default setting here of 38 for water as a percent of oil, so we'll leave that. Number 4 is already set for us on the super fat at 5%, which we talked about as our buffer. And we're going to get rid of this fragrance because we're not fragrancing our soap this time. Number 5 we leave alone, and then number 6 is where we add our oils in. They're in alphabetical order. So first we need almond. We're going to add. Well, avocado oil popped in. So right here, almond oil, we're going to go over to our plus and add it in number 1. And we are working with that at a 5%. If you knew the ounces from a recipe, you can always put it over here in this column. But we don't know what the exact measurements were that they used because their batch was probably a lot bigger than what our batch is going to be. But they did give us the percentage of the oil they used, so we're going to calculate it that way. So as you can see, I have all my percentages, and if you go back, it's gonna equal 100%. So number 7, all we have to do is hit calculate recipe. Okay guys, so we hit our calculate recipe, and now we can see over here it gives us our measurements. So we're gonna actually look at our stash. And if you're making this for the first time, all your oils are gonna be new. But say you've made a few recipes and you've used some of your oils and you don't know if you have enough. Well, right here, you can check to see before you even get started and get all the equipment set up and ready to go, if you're gonna have enough oils in your stash for this recipe. So now, we know we're not going to run short on any of our oils, or if we have more of one that we want to use. Calculate the recipe again. Check your notes. See if these make it within the range of percentages allowed in a soap. And it looks like our castor oil is high, because in the previous video I had mentioned we use that between 2 and 5%. So we need to go back and change this to a 1/2 ounce and add that 1/2 ounce, say, into our beef tallow, because we have a lot more of that. But I just wanted to let you know that if you were creating a new recipe and you were running short on a few of your oils and didn't want to run to the store before you lost ambition to make another batch of soap, which I doubt you would, but anyway, this is a good way to check to make sure that you don't run into any issues when you've got all your equipment covering your kitchen table and dinner's in an hour. Tucked away up here is number 8. And this is where it will allow us to save our recipes. You don't have to click number 8. It will just tell you that the recipe names cannot be changed. If this is your first recipe, click 1 and hit save. And it will save it. So if I went to recipe 2 now and hit load, it would say right up there, it hasn't been saved as a cookie on my computer. So I'm going to hit OK. If I went back to recipe 1 and hit load, ta-da! Our recipe is saved. And now you just hit the view and print recipe. So now we know that our recipe is safe, and we want to measure these as accurately as possible because that will give you the best result and the best quality bar of soap. You can see down here a good range. Our recipe is within it, and right down here you can make notes of what you want to try for colors or fragrances, or just leave it plain and write in the notes that you left it plain. But it's an open field, and it will let you type in whatever you want. So I hope this took some of the intimidation out of using a lie calculator. and play around. Come up with a recipe. Put it in, see if it works. So it's a good idea to print out your recipes just in case, so you can reference them. Sorry about the quality of those videos. It's the only way I could bring them to you. But at least we have a printed recipe now. We're getting there. Just don't get ahead of yourself. There's a few more videos in the Learn With Me series that I'd like you to watch before you start making soap, so you don't get yourself in a predicament like I did. And I promise, by the end, the only thing that will be limiting you would be your imagination. That's where we come in. You can pull some inspiration from us. So until next time, just remember, every dime counts. Bye-bye.